Hello everybody, it's Starlene Breiter here. I'm a vibrational astrologer and this is my weekly forecasting video for the week of Monday, October 14th through Sunday, October 20th, 2019. To give you a little summary of the video before I get started, I'm going to be talking about in this video the vibrational astrology for the week. In particular, we'll be looking at the midpoints. We have lots of different energies going on this week, so if you feel like a little pulled in one direction and then like at the same time pulled in another direction and they feel like they're on opposite sides of the spectrum, this is probably why. It's okay. Try to keep the balance. The balance is what's important. So try to keep the balance no matter what. You know, remember that you can only really control your response to whatever's going on around you. So keep that in the back of your mind as things unfold this week for yourself. So we do have 5 midpoints. Last week we had 4 midpoints. And if you remember and you watched last week's video, I talked about how we had a very Mercury-Mars energy going on because Mercury and Mars were either one or both were in every one of the 4 midpoints that I talked about. This week it's a little bit different. We have 5 midpoints and we have a lot of Venus and Mars energy. They're not in every one of the midpoints, which of course I'll get to, but it is heavily Venus and Mars energy. So a lot of Venus energy, that means that the things that we're attracted to, the things that we feel like we love, that we feel connected to on an emotional level, and then the Mars energy, which is our energy in and of itself, you know, so we're going to have a lot of energy towards the things that we love. That's going to be like a theme for this week. We also have a very long midpoint that starts this week. It is with the Sun at the conjunction of Venus-Mars midpoint. So it's a long aspect that starts this week and ends like November 21st. It doesn't peak until November 4th. And the reason it lasts so long is because Mars, the Sun, and Venus are all moving very close to the same speed in the sky. So this midpoint just kind of carries along with it as the planets move, and eventually after a few weeks it does move away from each other. But it's going to take a good month, over a month actually, to complete its cycle. So this is a change, an opportunity for change for all of us. And I'll get into that midpoint, you know, when I get talking about the midpoints themselves. I will also be talking about the astrological aspects that are going on, the 2 planet aspects that are going on. Those are important as well. And I will be sharing a gemstone suggestion for the week. I am a gemstone expert. I like to share gemstone suggestions to let you know how to use a gemstone and why you would want to use the gemstone for the energies that are going on this week, because it's very helpful, in my opinion, to work with gemstones to help you work with the energies that are going on in the week itself. I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. You can also hit that notification bell. That way you'll get a notification when I upload a video. I do these videos once a week. I've been putting them out Monday morning, but this one I'm going to put out Sunday evening, hopefully. I'm thinking it might be because more people seem to be off work on Sundays as opposed to Monday mornings. So hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy the video on Sunday evening and you know, watch it throughout the week and all of that. I also invite you to like my video if you like it. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to tell me how your week went, how it resonated with you or whatnot, feel free to leave a comment. I love hearing the comments. I love getting a conversation going. I love talking about astrology too. So, you know, if you haven't watched the video that I put out talking about how to look up your birth chart, go and watch that video. It's a 13-minute video. You can watch how to pull up your birth chart for free online on your phone or even on, you know, your computer. You can look it up. And then you can know a little bit more about what's going on in your own chart, and also you can relate it to what's going on in the chart of the moment, which is the transiting chart that I'm talking about this week. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you want to find me online, you can go to my website. It is rockstarastrologer.com. You can also find my Facebook. Just look up my name, Starlene Breiter. You can find me on Instagram, Starlene Breiter. I'm also on Twitter. You can find me. My name is just Starlene there. So feel free to check me out in those places. I love to communicate with you guys. I'm a really social person. I'm very friendly. I love talking about astrology. So if you're interested in astrology, we're probably already friends. So feel free to connect with me. And of course, if you are looking for a reading, I do consultations. I actually have a special going on right now until the end of October on my Rockstar Astrologer website, because it is the Halloween month. So you guys can get a consultation with me for less money. Go check it out. Let me know if you have any questions and if you need any help going through my website or figuring it out. If you go to my website, click on shop at the top button. At the top, there's a button called shop, and that'll bring you to the page and show you everything. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into the midpoints for this coming week. So last week we had a really powerful midpoint. It was Pluto opposition Mars and Uranus, okay? And this one started on the 10th, and it actually peaks on Sunday the 13th and leaves us on the 16th, okay? Now this is a really powerful, transformative energy. This one wants us to be in the present moment. It really does. If we're not in the present moment, we may feel like explosive. We may feel like too much is going on at one time. We may feel like things are just like almost difficult for us. So if you're feeling like that, if you felt like that, especially considering that Sunday is when this peaks, Sunday is also the Aries full moon, you may feel like you've been under a lot of stress or whatnot. And if you don't live in the present moment, if you're not living in the present moment, you're thinking too far in the past or you're thinking too far in the future, then you're going to feel kind of explosive or frustrated. And try to remember that, to keep yourself balanced. That's really important. That balance is so important. Remember, balance is key. And that's important for the next couple days to the 16th. That's a very powerful aspect for us to all be remembered that we're intertwined into. So maybe it's not you that feels that way because you've got the balancing under control, but maybe it's your neighbor or the next person over, and you just have to remember, and if you keep yourself calm, usually other people respond in kind. So try to keep that in the back of your mind. So the next midpoint I'm going to talk about is the Sun conjunct Venus Mars. I mentioned it earlier. This starts on the 16th and it lasts till the 21st of November. So over a month. The peak is November 4th. This is a very visceral kind of energy. We have an urge to create something with this energy. So the Sun is like our vitality, right? And Venus is what we're attracted to, and Mars is our energy. So we have this urge to create something, maybe even something artistic, maybe even something that we feel really strongly in love with or connected to. So depending on the context of your life, because this energy is present for everybody. The Sun conjunct Venus Mars vibration is all over. It's all over during this time. And we're all intertwined in it. But we're all having different life experiences too, right? So I don't think that astrology dictates your life. I think you live your life and you are presented with these energies. All of us are. And then we can kind of figure out what to do with them. That's why I like to understand astrology, because it helps us to understand that, we can work with these energies to better our lives or better ourselves or attain things or manifest things better. So in this sense, think about how you can and what you do want to create in your life. So say you are in a relationship and you're wanting to make it grow or make it more beautiful. This would be a great time to do that. This would be a great time to say, okay, let's start doing date night again. Let's start doing something really sweet with each other again. Maybe you've lost that somewhere along the way and you need to bring that back into the picture of your relationship. Maybe you're an artist because, Venus also does rule over the energy of the things that we love. And what do we love? We love art, right? A lot of people love art. Well, if you're not one of those people that love art, then maybe the relationship thing is your story, but if you're the person that loves art, maybe you want to dig into art and really get into doing something that you really love and creating something that you really love, because there's an artistic power that comes with this. It's a desire to make things beautiful. So during this time, think about how you can make your life beautiful. And if you're not living that beautiful life, try to take some steps to it. I understand that we may have dreams and desires of what we want, and that sometimes takes time to unfold. So appreciate the unfolding and watch it unfold as you take the steps to make that happen for yourself. So that's a very Sun conjunct Venus Mars, midpoint going on. It's very, very powerful, and it's going on for a couple weeks. actually over a month. So it's giving us a chance to really start to make our lives beautiful in the way that we want them to be. So the next midpoint to talk about is Saturn conjunct the Venus-Neptune midpoint. This happens on the 16th, and it happens on the 17th, and it goes to the 20th. The peak date is the 19th at 12:36 a.m. Eastern time. I always give the times in Eastern time, so if you live in a different time zone, you have to do the math to figure out exactly when the peak time is for you. I tell the peak times because if you're doing some intention work, you might want to do it around that peak time, or it may be more intense of this energy for you during this peak time. So Saturn conjunct Venus Neptune, this is like Saturn is like wanting to cut away any superficial stuff in your life. Venus is like the things that we love, but Neptune's our ideals. So here we have Venus and Neptune with these dreamy ideals that we want to create, the love that we want to create in our lives. And then we have Saturn going, okay, but that's not really what's real. So like it might be like a burst of your bubble in some way. If you're kind of living in fantasy land, it might bring you back down to earth. Now, that's not a bad thing because, if you really do want to create something beautiful within your life, whether that be something, as far as a beautiful life or a relationship, even, because this can have a relationship tendency to it as well. But whatever it is that you're wanting to create that's beautiful in your life, Saturn is coming along going, okay, so this is really not real. This dream you're having is not real. But how can you take steps to make it real? So Saturn isn't necessarily as, malefic as classical astrologers say, and at least in my opinion, and in the opinion of vibrational astrologers. Saturn just brings us to reality. It says, hey, this is not working. This is superficial. We need to let this go so we can have something that lasts. So ask yourself during this time, the 17th through the 20th, am I living that beautiful life that I really want to live? If you're not, then what steps can you take to make that happen? Again, taking this into the context of your own life, maybe that beautiful life that you want to live is, living with your partner and just sharing, a beautiful life with that person. And maybe you need to have a conversation with your partner and say, hey, I think it's time we do this. We live together. Or maybe it's something simpler, like you actually just letting go of things that, dreams that aren't really manifesting into reality, and, actually figuring out how you can manifest your dreams into reality. Whatever it is, and whatever context it is in your life, that is the way this is going to play out. So think about it. Think about how you can put a dose of reality, a dose of realness into the things that you love and the things that you really idealistically want to create with yourself. So this is a really nice kind of energy, even though it has a dose of reality to it. And Saturn is not necessarily always thought of as nice. I do think it's nice because it's like saying if we want something real and lasting, then this is the energy to do that with. So the next midpoint to talk about is Jupiter conjunct the Mercury-Pluto midpoint. This starts on the 18th and it lasts to the 25th. The peak is the 21st, and that is at 8:14 a.m. And this is a desire to teach. So Jupiter is like the great teacher. It's a philosopher. It makes things big. That's the function of Jupiter. All the other things of Jupiter are the symptoms. So the function of Jupiter is making things big. So what could we be making big? Our minds. We could be expanding our minds. That's the Mercury energy there. We can be expanding our intelligence. And then the Pluto energy is giving us that compulsive drive to do something, that desire for great success. Success because it's Jupiter. Jupiter is very successful. Jupiter is like, yay, I've got it. I made it. I'm on stage. I'm successful in this project. I'm being recognized for something, so your mind is also a big part of this too, because the Mercury energy. So put your mind on the things that you really want to create with yourself, and you can blow them up at this time. You can make things as big as you want. So don't put your dreams into a box and say, oh, I can't make that happen. If you really want to make it happen, you'll have the focus and the oomph, so to speak, in this energy to make that happen for yourself. So if you want if you're working on some kind of project and you're wanting to better yourself, you're wanting to dig deep into a subject that you don't know of, then this is a great time to do it. This is a great time to focus your energy on it. This could be like a literary thing, because it could be about teaching or learning, because Jupiter and Mercury are very teaching, learning kind of energies. And it could also be like, hey, I want to be, do something grand with myself. Like I want to start and do something that really is big, a big project with myself. It could be either thing, depending on obviously your lifestyle and what's going on in your own life. So the last midpoint to talk about is Mars opposite the Uranus-Neptune midpoint. That starts on the 19th and goes to the 21st. The peak is the 20th at 10:03 a.m. So Mars opposite Uranus-Neptune. This is a need to direct your energy towards the things that you aspire to idealistically live. So Mars is our energy. So our energy is like tickling, so to speak, the desire to be in the moment, and also the desire to live our dreams, which is Neptune, our ideals. I'm not just talking about like our dreams as in like we're going to sleep in our dreams. I'm talking about like our dream state, our daydreams, our desires, our ideals, our highest ideals. That's Neptune energy. Uranus Neptune can also be very psychic. So Mars can be, tickling us in a way that makes us kind of psychic, intuitive, whatever you want to call it. That sense that we don't necessarily quantify. We can't necessarily quantify, but it's there. So this may be something, that is going on during this time for you as well. Think about what things can you do in this present moment to create those dreams for yourself. I think this is a really good manifesting energy as well, because Mars is like, hey, I'm giving you energy towards Uranus Neptune, which Uranus Neptune is like all about, that intuition and that manifestation process. So what do you want to manifest? What do you want to create within your life? So do you see a theme here going on this week? A lot of manifestation, a lot of creating, a lot of very, very tactile things, because we also have that Venus energy going on. But, this is the time to do it. This is the time to start to actually take things and make things happen for ourselves. I love it too, because this week is on the tail end of the Aries full moon that had happened on Sunday, because it's the Aries full moon was kind of like, okay, I'm ready to start something new. I really want to start something new. I'm energized. I'm here. I'm ready, because it was connecting with Pluto too. It's like, hey, I'm ready to make this happen. And now we have all these opportunities this week with these midpoints to say, okay, what does that look like for me? What does it look like, and how can I make it happen? What do I do with myself? And then we have these, very strong energies with Mars and Pluto mixed in here, saying, okay, we have the drive to do it and we have the desire to do it. So, utilize this. Don't let this slip through your fingers, because this is a great week to actually start to create the things that you want to create in your life. Okay, so that's the midpoints for this week. A lot, I know. But like I said, if you feel like you're pulled in different directions at different times, just try to go with the flow and don't allow yourself to get too distracted either way. And try to remember to be present. Being present is so important. Being present allows you to actually have the clarity and make what you want happen actually to happen, as opposed to just living in the dreamland, which isn't really the best place to be. So, okay, the 2 planet aspects that are going on this week. Monday, we have the 14th. We have Mercury sextile Saturn. This is a whole day aspect. It peaks at 2:56 a.m. So this is like not being afraid to make plans for yourself. So Mercury's our mind. It's in an active sextile to Saturn. I know it's happening at 2:56 a.m., which is like early for most of us, but it is saying, hey, what do we want to create with ourselves, like in reality? Like, make some plans for yourself. This may be like Sunday night you kind of feel this, because it is early in the morning on Monday morning, but it may be Monday morning that you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm ready to actually create some things for myself. What is it I want to create? What can I do? What things can I mentally prepare myself for? Also, I would say journaling things down would be a great idea, because Mercury is about communication. Journaling is a form of communication, and Saturn is about real things. So a journal is like, a real thing that you can go back and look on when you have like the energy to make that happen. It may be like ideas floating around, but you want to put them down on paper to make them, be something that you can refer back to at another time. On the same day, Monday the 14th, we have the Sun squaring Pluto. If you remember, last Monday, we had Sun squaring Saturn. So Sun squaring Saturn was stripping us away from all the things that were frivolous, that didn't need to happen, that didn't need to be in our lives. Now we have Sun square Pluto. This happens at 3:34 a.m. It is a day-long aspect. And, this is, like I said, the progression of the Sun square Saturn from last Monday, and the nakedness that we feel, so to speak, because Saturn does kind of like strip us down. And then this is the compulsion to do something with ourselves, with our naked self, so to speak. And I don't mean naked as in like no clothes. I mean like, we've been stripped of like the things that were meaningful to us that weren't meaningful to us. I should say that. We were stripped with the things that were not meaningful to us, that were frivolous or superficial, and now we're kind of there in the naked flesh, and we're saying, okay, how can we create something? What can we do? What can we do? We have the drive to make that happen. So Monday is going to be a day of having some kind of drive to create something for yourself. Between this Mercury sextile Saturn and then the Sun square Pluto, we have this energy of like thinking about things and putting them down on paper, and even starting to manifest them. So, and the squares and the sextiles are energetic, very powerful energies. So it's, a time for us to kind of like work that energy for ourselves. So moving along to Tuesday, the 15th, we have Mercury trine to Neptune. That happens at 6:45 p.m. This aspect will be going on Tuesday and some of Wednesday. This is really idealistic thoughts. So Mercury's our mind, the things we think about, the things we talk about, the things we communicate about. Neptune is our highest ideals. This can be romantic thoughts. This can be sweet thoughts. This is a great night to have a date night or spend time with your loved ones or communicate with your loved ones. If you're not in the same vicinity with your loved ones, pick up the phone or Skype or whatever and give them a call and talk to your loved ones. I think this is a great day to do that kind of thing. It's idealistic. So, we also may be wanting to dream or daydream about the things that we want in our lives, and pick up that journal again and write the things that you want to create in your life down, because sometimes we forget. We may have like a good idea. Oh, I want to do this, but then we forget about it. So journaling, I'm really a big proponent for journaling, because we can always look back and say, oh, this is something that was a great idea I had a week ago. Maybe I should start to implement it now, like when the energy shifts and you're ready to actually take action on it. So Mercury trine Neptune isn't necessarily an action-oriented energy, but it is an energy of great thinking about what your ideal life would look like. So moving on, Wednesday the 16th, Thursday the 17th, and Friday the 18th, there are no aspects to talk about. There are lunar aspects, which I don't talk about in this video, but that's okay. So the lunar aspects, the reason I don't talk about them is because they're fleeting. I mentioned that earlier with the midpoints, but the lunar aspects last a couple of hours, and they're more like a mood. They're more like a vibe. Sometimes I've been writing about them, the moon aspects, on my Facebook page. So if you follow me on Facebook, you might see, like, I'll talk a little bit about the moon aspects that are going on. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, feel free to follow me there. And I do talk about that kind of the moon aspects for the day. If there are a lot of them, or, if I feel so drawn to doing so, I will share that. But in this video, I think the more powerful energies are the ones that last a while, other than just a couple hours, like the moon. So moving on to Saturday the 19th, we have Mercury making a sextile to Neptune. So Mercury went from a trine to Neptune to a sextile to Neptune, and this happens the trine to Neptune happened on Tuesday, right? And trines can be kind of lazy. So like I said, you may not feel the desire to actually create and do something with yourself, but you'll be thinking about what your ideal life is. Then moving on to Saturday, when Mercury makes a sextile to Neptune, this happens at 6:17 p.m. and it happens Friday and Saturday. The energy will be present with us. This is our intuition and awareness of the unknown. And so we may have more energy, because sextiles are more energetic than trines. We may have more energy towards actually creating some of those ideal things that we want. You know, so go back in your journal on Saturday that hopefully you started earlier in the week or before, and look at those things that you wrote down possibly on Tuesday when Mercury was trine Neptune, and say, how can I take steps to make those happen? You know, how can I do that? Because that Mercury sextile Neptune will give you a little energy towards doing that. And then the last day, Sunday the 20th, is Venus sextile Saturn. This peaks at 9:56 a.m. It lasts all of Sunday. And this is a desire to create something real and lasting within our life. This is something real and lasting in our life that we're attracted to. I love Venus-Saturn aspects, and I know I've talked about this before. I mean, I even have the Venus-Saturn glyphs on my wall here. Whoops. There they are, the Venus-Saturn glyphs on my wall. I just love the energy of Venus and Saturn because Venus is like what we're attracted to. It's realness, right? It's what we really feel from our soul, what we're attracted to. And Saturn is like saying, what's going to last past death? What's going to be really honestly true and real? So during this time, you maybe notice that you want to create something real and lasting in your life. You know, maybe you want to have a real relationship. If you're not in a real relationship, you may be going, this kind of isn't really my vibe anymore, you know, and you might want to release it. You know, that does happen with these Saturn energies. And if you are, you know, communicating with somebody, you may want to deepen that. You may want to make that more solid, more real, more intense, more strong, if you will. So that's the Venus sextile Saturn energy. So the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is the gemstone suggestions that I have for the week. I have 2 of them. The first one is mahogany obsidian, and here is a small piece of mahogany obsidian. As you see, it's a mahogany color with the black obsidian kind of specks in it. You can get a bigger piece. It's not necessary. But mahogany obsidian is wonderful for encouraging strength and growth. And it also grounds and protects you and releases any kind of blockages that you have. So I think this would be wonderful for working with these energies this week because, you know, we have a lot of things where we're like, okay, what do we want to create with ourselves, you know? And sometimes there's a blockage in ourselves, either subconscious, conscious, or physical, that is keeping us from actually creating that. So this would be a great stone to work with. You can keep it with you. It's a great stone. You can keep it in your pocket. You could even get some kind of like, you know, jewelry with it in it. It's not an expensive stone to work with, but it's a really great stone to work with to help encourage strength and power within yourself. The second stone I have to share with you guys this week is amethyst. Amethyst is a wonderful stone. It helps to detoxify the body. It also helps with physical stress and opens up the third eye chakra. With the Neptune energy that's going on, I think it's important for us to work with amethyst so that we can kind of come to a space of feeling like we understand things deeper, like we understand our own dreams even deeper. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about just the dreams that in our dream state, but our daydreams, our desires, our ideals. So amethyst is wonderful for doing that. Here's another example of amethyst. This actually is a cluster of amethyst, as you see the cluster of crystals on the back of a matrix. You don't have to have something like this. You can have something small. Here's a small piece of a chevron amethyst. As you can see, it's chevron because there's the quartz on the bottom and then amethyst on top. It's raw. You can get a tumbled piece too. Either way, I don't have a tumbled piece to share with you guys, but you know, amethyst is very common, a mineral, so you can find it anywhere, and it's also not very expensive as well. So that wraps up this week. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to invite you to come back next week to hear about when I talk about the sun's ingress into Scorpio, which is a very intense time. The new moon in Scorpio will also be going on next week, and there will be other powerful aspects going on. So join me next week. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love hearing feedback from you guys, so please feel free to share your feedback. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate everybody that watches my videos, and I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. Namaste, everybody. Bye-bye.